Hey there, bibliophiles and those raising bibliophiles. Without ratings and warning labels, knowing which books are appropriate for your children to read is like navigating wild terrain without a map and a compass. I don't know about you, but I have been burned more than once handing my child a book that I thought was clean and appropriate for them to read. I'm a fellow mom, educator, reading specialist, and literary enthusiast trying to find great books for my children and yours to read. So if you're looking for a real review from a mom with a biblical worldview, then welcome and enjoy this week's book review. So this week's book review is book 5 in the Sneaky Ink Spy Adventure series by Rob Baddorf. This is Operation Zero. And like I said, this is book 5 in the series. So continuing where readers have been left off, Robin, Anika, Chad, and Isabel have to go digitally dark after Spark AI attempts to defend itself by attacking them. Back in their abandoned grocery store headquarters, the crew is trying to wrap their heads around all that has happened. Spark AI has hacked their phones and is attempting to divide them by impersonating them in messages, both text and audio. As a result, they turn off their phones. However, with a world in which technology dominates everything, turning off their phones doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of trying to put them out of Spark AI's reach. So before I go much further into my review, I'm just going to read a little bit of the opening for you just to give you a taste of the story and the writing style. We've got a problem, Robin whispered, entering from the back of the empty grocery store. He marched forward, holding out his phone. The gang huddled inside near the lone desk positioned in the center. The Sneaky Ink hideout, was this really the kind of place other government agencies met in secret? Didn't they at least have coffee, hot chocolate? The team needed to take the time to fix the place up. Fighting with the leaking roof, the leaves that blew in through the cracks, and deteriorating walls. And were now collecting in the corners. These were ongoing issues. Problem? Chad said, without even looking up. Why were they inside on such a beautiful day, and all sitting around staring at their phones? Anyone want to guess who just texted? Robin asked. No one answered, or even glanced his way. Until Isabel offered a huge sigh and slapped her phone face down on the desk. I don't get it, Robin. She looked frustrated. You actually want to sell the food truck? I thought we were all in agreement when we bought it. Sure, there are still a few issues with it, but I thought it was working out for us. Clearly, you don't agree. But do we actually sit around and discuss it as a group? No, you just go and list it on Facebook Marketplace. Chad was the next in line to vent his emotions. And since when do you think using skateboards is unprofessional? Seriously? You and I have been skating since, I don't know when, first grade? You're welcome to sell all your gear, but I'm keeping mine. I use my own money for it, despite how tempting it was to use my department budget now, and then on small parts. Robin shook his head. This was all wrong. A mean-spirited joke Robin wasn't a part of that was now driving a wedge between him and the group. Or was that the intention? And so that just gives you a little bit of the opening. And like I said, Spark AI is trying to divide them, seeking answers and information about what's going on. Chad and Robin essentially break into Bruce Banner's home, where he is recovering from the surgery that he had in book 4. They quickly find out that they are not the only ones to break into Banner's home. There are others after Spark AI has put a bounty on Bruce's head. In a twist of fate, Robin is able to incapacitate the man who is threatening Vanna and receives the information he desires, a thumb drive that will put Spark AI on pause. The problem they have is to somehow break inside Luminous data in order to install it. Getting in undetected is highly unlikely. While Chad and Robin are on their small excursion, Anika and Isabella are fighting to stay alive. Spark AI has managed to activate all of their technology and different gear that they have and turn it on against them. It is all the girls can do to manage to get inside their food truck / mobile command center before their abandoned grocery store goes up in flames. When the boys return, they drive to a Walmart to reconvene about their next moves. However, Spark AI is everywhere. And after a series of high-intense events, they manage to evade and escape, only to quickly be arrested by SWAT as domestic terrorists. Fortunately, their CIA contacts from Book 4, Zeke and Mia, managed to get them released. With the help of Zeke and Mia, the mission is back on to stop Spark AI. All seems to be going to plan, but it isn't long before they realize that Spark AI was luring them to luminous data in order to stop them once and for all. After quick thinking and help from Damian Crow and his EMP, they think Spark AI has finally been stopped. However, the book leaves the reader hooked for book 6 with a message from Spark AI that leads the team to the International Space Station. If you go to my website at holdingsteadfastreaders.com, you're going to get some more information about this book, particular quotes, things that I thought worth sharing in particular to the book. If readers have followed this series so far, they're going to fly through book 5. Baddorf does an amazing job of keeping the story going, keeping it engaging, especially if you have a reluctant reader. Additionally, the overall biblical integration is to remember who is on the throne. What a great message for a world full of chaos and turmoil, which can and does cause some teenagers concern, fear, worry, anxiety. However, in this installment of the series, Baddorf does a wonderful job reminding Robin and essentially readers that God is on the throne. There isn't anything we face or anything that could happen that would dethrone him. Therefore, we can face each challenge with courage and endurance, knowing that in the end, victory belongs to the Lord. Book 6 was released on February 2nd of 2026, so I am adding that book to my reading queue, and I hope to get that book review to you by springtime. So hopefully you can have a set of books and series that are great for your children to read over summer. I hope that's helpful to you as a parent trying to find great books for your children to read, and I hope you'll join me next week for another book review.